Good day everyone, I'm Warren A. Nadalo together with my three group members, James Palco, Clarence Sakay, and Julia May Salalila. So, we are here to discuss and answer the asynchronous task of Module 9, which is all about algebraic curves. So, for the exercise number 1, it is divided into two tasks. The first is we are tasked to classify whether the given equation is implicit or explicit. So for the number 1, y is equal to x squared times quantity of x plus y times quantity of x minus 2 is an explicit form because based on the module, it follows the equation y equals to f of x. Another one is x squared y minus 4y minus x plus 2 is equals to 0 is an implicit simply because it is expressed in the equation of f of x comma y is equals to 0. The second task is all about classifying the given equation according to its type. So we can say that the type of y equals x cubed minus 27 is type 1 as it expressed as y equals to p of x. Another, y squared equal x times quantity of x squared minus 4 has a type 3 because it follows y squared equals to p of x. So as you can see, the types 1 and 3 are almost similar except for their y and y squared. Same with the type 2 and type 4. Exercise number 2. So for the exercise number 2, it is about making an analysis and sketching the graph. So for the number 1, y equals x cubed plus x squared minus 12x. Here, based on the previous exercise, we can say that its type of curve is type 1. So type 1 has no horizontal and vertical asymptotes and has no symmetry with respect to the x-axis. Then, since naka-standard form na yung given natin, gagawin na lang natin siya na naka-factor form using synthetic division or remainder theorem. So, bringing down the coefficient, meron tayong 1, 1, and negative 12. So, mag-iisip tayo ng value na pag pinag-multiply natin is yung makukuha nating remainder is 0. So, first doon is negative 3. So, bringing down the 1 times 3 is equals to negative 3. 1 minus negative 3 is equal to 4. 4 times negative 3 is equals to negative 12. So, negative 12 minus negative 12 is equals to 0. Next is positive 4. So, bringing down the 1 again, 1 times 4 is equals to 4. Then, 4 minus 4 is equal to 0. So, bali yung nakuha nating value is x equals to 3 and negative 4 then 0. So after natin makuha yung mga x value, ang next thing na gagawin natin is to solve their intercept. So to find the x-intercept, we should let the value of y be equal to 0 and vice versa. So 0 equals x times x plus 4 times x, quantity of x plus 4 times quantity of x minus 3, ang makukuha nating value ay 3x. So, x equals to 0, x equals to negative 4, and x equals to 3. Then, by that, masasabi natin na yung curve nag-cross sa OX at the origin of quantity of negative 4, 0, then 3, 0. For the y-intercept, same lang ng ginawa kanina, we will let the x is equal to 0. So, ang mangyayari doon, ang kakalabasan is 0 pa rin. So, yung curve crosses OY is at the origin. So, the next, after makuha natin yung tatlong value ng x which are negative 4, 0, and 3, we have 4 regions to form. The factor form is useful in obtaining the sign of y for each interval. So, yung x less than negative 4 where x is equals to negative 5, ang makukuha nating value makukuha natin na sign is negative. Therefore, yung curve nun naglalay sa below. Then, next is x is greater than 0 but less than 3 where x is equal to 1, ang makukuha nating sign is negative. Therefore, yung curve niya is nasa below pa rin. Next is x is less than 0 but greater than -4, where x is equals to 3. So, bali ang sign naman na makukuha natin dito is positive, therefore yung curve niya is nasa above. And last one, x is greater than 3, where x is equal to 4. Ang makukuha nating value makukuha nating sign is positive, therefore yung curve is nasa above. So, the last thing na gagawin natin is magsasubstitute tayo ng mga value sa x para makuha natin yung mga additional points. So, 4, -1, -3, and 2. So, sa 4, ang makukuha natin is 32. Then, ang point na pinakamakukuha natin is 4, 32. Sa -1 naman is 12, -1, 12. Sa -3 naman is 18, bali -3, 18. And sa 2 naman is -12, bali 12, 2, -12. So, by the given points, pwede na natin mag-graph yung pinaka-equation natin. And ito yung kakalabasan. Bali yung A, B, at C, ayun yung pinakang x na nakuha natin sa nung dinerive na natin siya after ng standard form. Then yung I, H, J, and G, ayun naman yung mga additional points na sinolve natin kanina.
Good day everyone, and now let us discuss the exercise 3 in the module 9, algebraic curves. So in the exercise 3, it mainly focuses on the type 2 algebraic curve. So we're going to answer the number 2 question. So given is y times the quantity of x squared minus 4x plus 4 minus x is equals to 0. So the first thing that we will going to do is to reduce it in the standard form. So we will have to transpose the x, so it will become y times the quantity of x squared minus 4x plus 4 is equals to x. So after that, we're going to transpose it in the expanded form. Y is equals to x over x squared minus 4x plus 4. So we will going to factor out now the x squared minus 4x plus 4, which is y is equals to x all over x squared x minus 2 times x minus 2, or x minus 2 squared. So the next thing that we're going to do is to find if its symmetry is, if its origin is symmetry. So we can observe that the origin in the y-axis and the x-axis is not symmetry. So hindi siya symmetry. So now let us move on to our intercept. So in our x-intercept, we will going to let y is equals to O. So using our factored form a while ago, so x will become 0. Thus, the curves at the origin and the x-axis will be 0 over 0 and 0. So the coordinates is 0 and 0. So number 2 is we will going to find the y-intercepts, or we will going to let x is equals to 0. So we will going to use again the expanded form, which is y is equals to x over the x squared minus 4x plus 4. So as you can see, the y is undefined, so the curve does not cross at the origin of the y. So now let us go on to the vertical asymptotes. So we're going to let y be the positive and negative infinity. So we're going to multiply the factored form of the y. So it will become x minus 2 minus x minus 2 is equals to 0. So x is equals to 2, therefore the vertical asymptote is equals to 2. So now we will going to move on to the horizontal asymptote. So using the expanded form with the divisor x squared, we will have y is equals to x all over x squared all over x squared minus 4x plus 4 all over x squared. So it will become 1 over x all over 1 minus 4 over x plus 4 over x squared. So as we can see, therefore the y is equals to 0. Therefore our horizontal asymptote is y is equals to 0. So, the next one, or the fourth one, so the extent of the curve. So, using the line x is equals to 0 and 2, we will have the regions to form the factored form and useful in obtaining the sign of the y. So, x is not greater than 0. So, x is lesser than 0. So, x is equals to negative 1. So, it will become y is equals to negative 1 all over negative 1 times the quantity of negative 1 minus 2 times the quantity of negative 1 minus 2. So, it will become negative over positive. So, it will be negative divided by positive is equals to negative. So, any number divided that is not in the same sign, it will become negative. So, the curve lies, therefore, it is negative. The curve lies below the origin of the x. So, next one is we will going to find where x is greater than 0 but lesser than 2. So, x is equals to 1. So, y is equals to 1 all over 1 times the quantity of 1 minus 2 times the quantity of 1 minus 2. So, it will become positive over positive. So, when you divide positive by positive, it will become positive 2. So, therefore, the curve lies above the origin of the x, or the OX. So, and for the number 3, so, we will going to find where x is greater than 2. So, x will become 3. So, y is equals to 3 all over 3 times the quantity of 3 minus 2 times the quantity of 3 minus 2. So, again, it is positive all over positive. So, it will become positive because positive divided by positive is positive. So, again, the curve lies above the origin of the x, or the OX. So we will going to look out for its additional points. So, when y is equals to 3, so y is the origin, or the coordinates is 3 and 3. So, the x is 3 and the y is 3. So, when y is equals to 1, it will become 1 and 1. So, the x is 1 and the y-axis is 1 also. So, when it is negative 1, so it will become negative 1 and negative 11. So, therefore, this is the graph of the number 2 question.
Hello, I will be discussing exercise 4 in module 9. Module 9 is all about algebraic curves, specifically type 3. To answer this exercise, we are tasked to analyze each equation and sketch their graph. So let's have number 1 as our example. Ang given po natin for number 1 is y squared is equals to x squared plus x minus y. Now, the first thing that we have to do is to determine the symmetry of this equation. Kailangan natin i-test yung symmetry ng equation with respect to x, y, and to the origin. In this case, yung equation natin, it shows symmetry with respect to the x-axis because there's no change in the equation nung nagpalit tayo ng sign ng ating y values. On the other hand, the given equation doesn't show symmetry with respect to the y-axis as well as to origin because there is a change in the equation nung nagpalit tayo ng sign to both x and y values. Now, the next thing that we have to do is to transform the given equation into factored form in order to get xy and x-intercept. By using the factored form of the given equation, which is makakalabasan is 0 is equal to x minus 3 plus x plus 4. We can get 3 and negative 4 as our x-intercept through transposition. On the other hand, we have 2 square root of 3 as our y-intercept. given, the algebraic curve has no vertical nor horizontal asymptote, and understood siya since ang algebraic curve na to is type 3. So, magpo-proceed na tayo sa pag-determine ng extent ng ating curve. Now, the factored form is very useful here in obtaining the sign of y. By substituting value of x, we can determine the sign of y, regions where there was no graph, and regions where the curve lies. So, sa ating given, we have 3 and negative 4 as our x-intercept. Number 1, x is less than negative 4. We can say that negative 5 is less than negative 4. So, through substitution, isa-substitute natin siya sa ating factor form, which gives us y squared is equals to negative 5 plus 4 times negative 5 minus 3. This factored form gives us both negative sum. And pag pinag-multiply natin siya, makakakuha tayo ng positive product, which implies that the curve lies above and below our x origin. Now, number 2, negative 4 is less than x, but x is less than positive 3. We can say that 1 follows this condition. So, isa-substitute ulit natin siya sa ating factored form, and we can get y squared is equals to 1 plus 4 times 1 minus 3. So, 1 plus 4 gives us a positive sum, and 1 minus 3 gives us a negative sum. And pag pinag-multiply natin silang dalawa, makakakuha tayo ng negative product, which also implies that it is imaginary or wala siyang graph sa region na to. For the next test, we have x is greater than 3. We can say that 4 is greater than 3. So, isa-substitute ulit natin siya sa ating factored form, and makakakuha tayo ng y squared is equals to 4 plus 4 times 4 minus 3. 4 plus 4 will give us a positive sum, and 4 minus 3 will also give us a positive sum. And pag pinag-multiply natin yung dalawa, kakakuha tayo ng positive product, which implies that the curve lies above and below our origin. Once that we have our x and y intercept, magpo-proceed na tayo sa ating asymptote. This given, the algebraic curve has no vertical nor horizontal asymptote, and once na matapos na tayo sa pag-determine ng extent ng ating curve, magpo-proceed naman tayo sa pagkuha ng additional points. Now, we have three certain values, and isa-substitute natin siya sa factored form ng ating equation. The first value that we have is positive 5, which gives us negative 5 plus 4 times negative 5 minus 2. And the kalalabasan niya is positive 5 and positive negative 3 square root of 2. The next value that we have is negative 6. So, isa-substitute lang natin yun siya, and mag-divide ito ng negative 6 and positive negative 3 square root of 2. The last value na meron tayo is a positive 6. So, isa-substitute lang ulit, and this will give us a positive 6 and positive negative square root of 3. Now, once na matapos ang analysis ng ating equation by following this procedure, we will now proceed sa ating graphing. As you can see, the illustration below shows what the graph looks like. You can see the regions and the additional points that we get.
In this video, we will discuss and trace the curve defined by y squared is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. The standard form of it is y squared is equal to x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6, and the factored form of it is y squared is equal to the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3 multiplied by the quantity of x plus 2. To get the x-intercepts of this equation, we will let y equal to 0. We will substitute the variable of y into 0. So, using the factored form, 0 is equal to x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 2. And x is equal to, and the x-intercepts will be 1, 3, and negative 2. So, because of this, the curve crosses at the origin of x at 1, 0, 3, In this video, we will discuss and trace the curve defined by y squared minus x cubed minus 2x squared minus 5x plus 6. So, it is in its standard form. So, what is the factored form of this equation? The factored form of it is y squared is equal to the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 2. To get the x-intercepts of this, we will be using the factored form and let y equal to 0. So, 0 is equal to the quantity of x minus 1 times the quantity of x minus 3 times the quantity of x plus 2. And if you transpose it, x will be 1, 3, and negative 2. Thus, the curve crosses at origin of x at points 1, 0, and 3 and 0, and point negative 2 and 0. And to get the y-intercept, we will substitute x to 0. So, y squared is equal to the quantity of 0 minus 1 times the quantity of 0 minus 3 times the quantity of 0 plus 2. And if you simplify this, it will become y squared is equal to 6. And to simplify y squared is equal to 6, it will become y is equal to the square root of 6. Thus, the curve crosses the origin of y at point 0 and the square root of 6. Since this type of algebraic curve is y squared is equal to p of x, there is no vertical and horizontal asymptotes. Using the lines x equals to negative 1, negative 3, and positive 2, we have 4 regions to form. And the factored form is useful here in getting the sign of y. For our first region, x is less than negative 3. So x will be negative 4. And we will substitute the negative 4 into our standard form, which is y squared equals to the quantity of negative 4 minus 1 times the quantity of negative 4 minus 3 times the quantity of negative 4 plus 2. So y squared, which is the sign of this, the three quantities will be 3 negatives. So negative times negative is equals to negative. So y is equal here as imaginary. Therefore, in this region, no graph will be formed. The second region is negative 3 is less than x is less than negative 1. So x here is equals to negative 2. And we will substitute that value. Then it will become y squared is equal to the quantity of negative 2 minus 1 times the quantity of negative 2 minus 3 times the quantity of negative 2 plus 2. So the signs will be negative times negative times positive, and it will become positive. So y equals to positive. Therefore, the curve lies above and below the origin of x. For our third region, negative 1 is less than x, and it's less than 2. So our x here will be equal to positive 1. So we'll just substitute the value and the value of x, which is y squared equals to the quantity of 1 minus 1 times the quantity of 1 minus 3 times the quantity of 1 plus 2. And our signs here will be y squared equals to positive times negative times positive, and it will become negative. So y equals imaginary. So in this region, because it is imaginary, no graph will be formed. And for our last region, x is greater than 2. So our x here will be equal to 3. And we will just substitute the value. It will become y squared equals to the quantity of 3 minus 1 times the quantity of 3 minus 3 times the quantity of 3 plus 2. So y squared is equal to the signs of positive times positive times positive equals to positive. So our y here equals positive. Therefore, the curve lies below and above the origin of x. And for our additional points, we will get the two forms we have that the y is not equal to imaginary, and this value of x is 3 and negative 2. So we will just substitute those two values into our equation. Y equals the quantity of negative 2 minus 1 times the quantity of negative 2 minus 3 times the quantity of negative 2 plus 2, and our point will be negative 2 and 0, and we will substitute the positive 3, which is our x, into the equation. So y squared is equal to the quantity of 3 minus 1 times the quantity of 3 minus 3 times the quantity of 3 plus 2, and we will simplify it. So 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 times 5 is 0. So y squared is equal to 0, and if we will just simplify the equation, y is equal to 0. And if we will plot the points that we have, it will be look like this.